All right, Regev, welcome to my podcast.
Hey man, thank you. It's a pleasure being here. I'm a big fan, but I think everybody in the basketball world in Europe is a fan, so proud and happy to be with you here.
Thank you, thank you. It's rather like a niche podcast, you know. It's a small world, but I think everybody who listens to it and who discovers it appreciates it. So I'm just hoping that I can continue on the same stride. It's not as consistent as other podcasts, so probably that's why it's also like a slower growth. But I go quality over quantity.
Yeah, for sure. You should know that our staff members always listen.
Nice, that's good. Good to
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
We're going to talk about a whole bunch of things today, different aspects of your job. Obviously, of course, also communication, which is my favorite topic. And I think in your position, I think it requires there's a lot of communication aspects that can be explored. But I wanted to start as an intro a little bit of how does it feel to be back home full time and play at home and not to be caught in between like different travels and playing at home in two different venues and
Yeah.
just constantly on the road.
Well, to be honest, I'm still learning how to deal with this new situation of coming back home. This is feels surreal, you know. I remember, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago when we had the game in Manila. So I remember I went first before the guys, before the players to the warm up, and I saw all the fans chanting for Maccabi players, and I was goosebumps like all over, and was really emotional moment because for the people that were in the system in the past 3 seasons, like it was we couldn't believe it's gonna happen. Like it was so intense. It was so demanding. Like really a variety of emotions and a bunch of feelings, and it was amazing moment and we're so happy, and I really think it gave a push to start a momentum, like this feeling that okay, now we're back at home together with our fans, with our families, we can try to start to develop something.
Yeah, yeah. How much time did pass since the last game?
It was 2.5 seasons.
2.5 seasons. Wow.
Yeah.
Most of the time it was Belgrade, right?
It was Belgrade, which I have to say that the people in Belgrade were amazing with us. Like they really supported us and they really opened their house to us. And we met some amazing people that gave us, whatever we need, like trying to help us and make us feel at home. But it's so difficult to come play a home game with 20 people in the stands. Like
Yeah.
it was really hard.
Yeah, and then you guys went back for domestic leagues, right? Like I mean, it was
Yeah,
sometimes
so
a
basically
split.
we had to fly. We had to fly every week. We played the Israeli game, then we played away game in EuroLeague or home game in EuroLeague in Belgrade, and basically every week you go on a plane, off a plane, on a plane, off a plane. I don't need to tell you because you were part of a big system what it means for a player to fly every week and to get him out of the comfort zone is, his well-being, his physical recovery it was really tough.
So let's start off with that a little bit of what was during that period, those 2.5 seasons. What was your like from the strength and conditioning aspect? What was the biggest challenge for you in terms of getting everybody aligned? Because you had like
Wow.
basically two different parties also at the same time. You know, some guys stayed back in Belgrade, some guys played in domestic league. Then you had to combine. So there is some issues also with keeping everybody on the same page.
Yeah, we had this situation, but at one point we decided that we don't want to split the team anymore. Like it felt for the coaching staff, for us, it was so like we felt, you leave players behind, you don't have control. You help us. You remember you helped us one time with one guy staying behind in Lithuania. Like we left players all over Europe just because of the war situation, and you have to find a different coach for this guy in Lithuania, and one physio in Serbia, and another guy is staying in Spain, and the other part of the team is in Israel. So it's like he really became a logistics manager for something which is really, I don't want to say broken because it's a little bit harsh, but you really had to be creative to find solutions to impossible situation. So for the first year, what basically happened, we had to live in Belgrade. Like each one of us had an apartment in Belgrade. This became a home, and then the war situation, it got a little bit more calm, so we could start playing domestic league. And then we had to resume flying every time. This is where the big load started. And one of the biggest challenges was to, from one side, keep the other guys active, the guys that are not flying, but also try to recover the guys that do fly
Mm-hmm.
so many times. Like the hours on plane, I think we're like a stewardess or a co-pilot or something because we spend so much time on planes. And this it's not like the NBA in Europe, like you have to go through the whole thing, security and passport check.
Yeah.
So the time that you spend on airports and plane was really, really challenging for us when we try to think how to recover the guys better because they're lacking time that they can eat better, be with their families, have a good night's sleep. And this was the biggest challenge, try to find flights or solutions just to get the players having better lives.
Mm-hmm. Did you have chemistry issues too during that period when like you have to like
No.
no?
So that's the thing. We had amazing guys with us, and the coaching staff and the manager and the owners were like they all I was, to be honest, I was really pessimistic because I'm not a creative person. I'm a very like methodic. But my coach and the team manager and the GM, they were all like really creative with how to keep the guys together because they lived in some uncertainty. They didn't know what's going to happen next week. Do we go
Mm-hmm.
back to Tel Aviv? Do we stay? Is it safe? Is it not safe? They're hearing stuff on the news, and like it's really hard to work like this. So we didn't have any chemistry problems. We did have some fear of players, families of players that calling from the States and telling the players to come back home because maybe the guy is not safe. You can understand that, but the team manager and the coaching staff were amazing, and they solved really they were on top of everything. And like it was so really I to be coach of a team in this kind of situation
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day for sure makes you better. When you
Mm-hmm.
deal with it, it's really like it's heavy stuff.
Yeah, at the end it makes you stronger if you get through it and the whole piece, and everything, you keep everything together. At the end, it's the bond probably becomes even stronger because like the difficulties you're going through and you still like win and you still find ways to navigate. I think that helps also just to strengthen your mindset a little bit.
The bond was amazing. You could see it like when we came to play the playoff games against Monaco one season, then against Panathinaikos one season, like you could see the bond is there because these guys, okay, leave coaches, managers or owners aside, the players like went through something together and stick together in really times that I'm not sure that every team could have made it.
Hmm.
And they stayed
Yeah.
together, and that just made them. It became their thing. Okay, at one, I remember we had a slump in the season at the beginning of season because we didn't know how to deal with this situation. And then we had some big Israeli league game against Hapoel Tel Aviv, which we crushed, like we killed the other team. And from that moment on, everything connected. These guys
Mm.
decided that this is going to be the story of the team. Like we coming to win everything in spite, like, dealing
Hmm.
with everything. That's going to make us stronger. That's what separates us from other teams.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I can see that being like taking the challenge head on and then just making the
It's a
best out of it.
challenge. It's a
Yeah.
challenge.
So let's rewind even more. Why did you choose this profession in the first place after you
Mm.
stopped playing? Like you could you
So
did you think about going to regular basketball coaching, being an X's and O coach at any point?
no, to be honest, when I was a player, I was not a good player, but I always used to work the hardest. Like for me, the part with the strength and conditioning coach, I waited for this all day long, and I had really good coaches when I was a player. And at one point, I think at the age of 25 or 26, I came to realize that I'm not going to be this big prospect player, and all of my dreams of being a great player probably will not happen. And it was so natural for me to start exploring and learning and to do something which I feel I'm destined to do. Like for me, working with the players, developing them athletic ability, build them good muscle mass, keeping them healthy, keeping my system together, that was my dream.
Hmm.
Even when I was a young player, I always looked at the strength coaches as someone really special on the squad. Like for me, okay, I would always tell myself like, what is this guy? He's not a basketball coach. He doesn't decide who plays or not. He's not part of the management, but he is so smart, and everything that he says sounds so like scholared and with a reason behind it. And I really think it's a dysfunction in a basketball team has become so much bigger in the past few years.
Hmm.
And this was my dream. Like this is how I visioned myself as a strength coach. Like when I was young, just beginning. So this was my vision.
Yeah, so from your time, this is a question I wanted to ask later, but now since you mentioned it, like what through your time when you started this job and now uh, at Maccabi you started 2013, right? Like you started you that's when you came to Maccabi.
Yeah.
But when you started to work in the strength and conditioning profession up until now, how much has the science changed? Like in terms of where it was back then, and what are the biggest revolutions since that time that you started up until now?
Wow. So first of all, I didn't start in 2013. I started much earlier in different teams with our junior team in Israeli under 18 teams and in some teams in Israel first division. And then to 2013, I came back to Maccabi. And if you ask what is the biggest change from then to now, I think the load has become so much bigger, like the number of
Hmm.
games, the intensity, the density, the way the game is played, everything is so much more athletic, so much more powerful, so much more intense. Like you could not compare. And I've been to Maccabi in several 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 times as a player and as a second strength coach and now as a head. And you could not even compare what went on 2013 or before and what
Hmm.
happens now. Like today, basically it's much more getting into helping the player as an individual much more than a team. I
Hmm.
think that maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, it was a strength coach managing the team. Now it's not only managing the team, it's also getting to the players individual because everyone experiences different loads on a team.
Hmm.
And the secret of being a good strength coach is to find the prospect guy that plays maybe once a week, but also you have to find a guy that plays 3 or 4 times a week. And you have to find ways to help all of the players on the team. And you have
Hmm.
to communicate with the coaches. You have to speak to the medical staff. You have to speak to the general manager. You have to communicate to the team manager. So I think now, today, a strength coach is a function that is a manager. Okay, he manages his field. Now, to be a good strength coach with good exercises, or just to be good at the weight room, or just to be good on the court, doesn't cut it. It's not enough. If you want to be a good strength coach, you have to really be like you have to be the GM of the strength and conditioning department. Like
It's
that's
it's
that's a big secret.
it's almost like basically it's the head of performance. Like you overlook the whole performance department, and you have to navigate everybody's level of competition and level of
Yeah, I
fitness.
mean, it's the sexy name to the job description, but it is what it is. I
Yeah.
mean, today, if you work in Maccabi, I work in Maccabi for 13 seasons in a row now. Yeah, I mean, I manage my criteria. I don't just come to the facility, coach the players for 40 minutes in the weight room, do the warm, and that's it. No, there's so many things involved. You have to speak to so many people throughout the day. You have to manage so many things throughout the day that involves the players, the staff, the schedule, speaking to the hotel, speaking to the offices. It's a 24/7.
Yeah. Yeah, like one thing, if I think about what has changed from the time that when I was in Moscow, for example, and now, maybe you know more other things that have changed, but I know that lifting after games was not very usual. Now it's more common, going to lift after games. So maybe like that is a scientific aspect that was developed over the years to keep players in the weight room after the game a little bit more. Any other aspect that you can think of, and maybe you can speak a little bit more to the lifting after the games.
Yeah, so to be honest, if you would ask me 2 or 3 seasons ago about post-game lifting, I would say, hell no, I'm not doing that. I hated it. Like everything around it, I I pushed it aside. I didn't want to do it. But when I encounter the schedule of players and I look at the full week of player, sometimes I have no choice. Like I don't want to lose these days of lifting, and I want to keep the high days high and the low days low. So sometimes to take a player that played 20 or 25 minutes for lifting after the game does make sense. I admit I was an enemy of the idea, but now it's I said no, this is very American, this is very NBA style. We don't do that in Europe. But now when I look at my players, it's like we don't have a choice. And for me as a strength coach, I hate losing days of lifting for my players. So
Mhm.
it's a good point because I changed over the years. Also, you have to, because every season more games, schedule becomes more challenging. Players go to Eurobasket, and you really have to find solutions at all times.
But
And the other thing that really has developed in the, let's say, past 2 or 3 seasons is the whole aspect of recovery for the players. Like it's really becoming holistic approach for the players. When is the day to do the active recovery day, to do the treatments, the ice bath, the nutrition, the sleep has become something huge.
mhm.
And these are things that are really developing, and this is a big help for the players.
So that because you said you're very methodical, you said it earlier, like how difficult was it for you to change in terms of lifting after games? Like how long did it take you to convince yourself in that aspect?
It took me that long to understand that I don't have any other time. And as I said, I don't want players on my squad who are not lifters. Like
Yeah.
everybody who knows me knows that I have a good culture in my club. It's not because of me, to be honest. It's because of the players. I have good players that have been with the club for a few years, and they understand the meaning and the culture and what it stands for. Okay, it's not
Hmm.
only okay we go to lift because we want to build muscle mass. It's part of the culture. It's part of being better. It's part of not losing days, because in Maccabi, it's all about sense of urgency. It's about pushing yourself even when it's really hard. So the lifting is a big key for us. And like it took me a while, to be honest. And my colleague said, "We are doing it. Yeah, you should feel." It took me a while, but I understood that I cannot escape. Like
So, but like you have to convince yourself, but how difficult is it to convince players and to talk to players? Like what are the most common discussions with players that you get about lifting or any other aspect that they don't like and you have to convince them to do it?
most of the players don't show resistance. And if some do, then you explain to them that, okay, let's say you're playing Tuesday and you have another big game on Thursday. And on Wednesday, you have an active recovery day, which you don't want to load your player. You want to bring him to the facility, make him get treatment, do some stretching, watch film or whatever. So you try to explain to him that this is the right way not to
Hmm.
lose the day of lifting, because then you have a player that, okay, maybe he didn't lift on Monday because it's day before game. On Tuesday, he had the game. And if he's not going to lift on Tuesday, probably he's not going to lift on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, we have another game. So that's 4 days that we cannot work. So if you want to stay healthy, if you want to perform your best, if you want to have good body composition, then that's the way. Now, I'm not going to say that everyone agrees 100% of the time. You can come to a player and tell him, "Hey, I need you to go lift," and then he can say, "Listen, Reg, I'm not there. Physically, I'm dead. Let's find a different solution." I will find. Okay, I'm not
Hmm.
like everybody knows that I have my principles, but I also understand that I'm dealing with players that are really loaded. So you really have to feel the player. You have to communicate. If it's a player that comes to lift every time, and one time is going to say, "I'm broken down, I cannot," you have to go with the player. If it's someone who always resists, then it's a problem, and you really need to find a way to get the player engaged, like because you don't want to lose these days. It's important.
So, do you have to build up a relationship in order to be able to convince them of that? Like how close are you with the players?
Oh, so once you build the relationships, I believe that convincing is not no longer in use, this word, because if the players feel that they can count on you, that you are there for them, that you think of their best, that you wake up in the morning at 5 a.m. until your bedtime, and all day long you think about your player and his schedule and his lifting days and the treatment and talking to the player development coach just to help the player. When they know that, that's it. You're not convincing anyone anymore. You
Hmm.
don't need to, because the player understands, even if he doesn't like you as a person, then he says, wow, this Reggie, he's I don't know, he's an idiot, but he really cares about me. He
Hmm.
really thinks about me. And even if I don't agree with the way he talks from time to time, then I know that he's there for me. That is, I know I'm going to wake up in the morning and I'm going to have my lifting program on the phone. And the player knows that after the game, Reggie will go. If he didn't play, if he played only 5 minutes, then Reggie will speak to the player development coach and tell the development coach to take the player not to lose the day.
Hmm.
So this is how you build trust. I mean, you can be an amazing coach, you can have amazing set of exercise, but if you don't communicate to the players and the players
Hmm.
don't trust you, then you basically, I'm sorry, I don't know if I can say it, but you are fucked.
Yeah, you're useless. You can say anything. Yeah, you're basically you're basically
Yeah.
useless. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like that's the
In
trust.
in
This.
today's world, in
Hmm.
today's world, where you have ELPA, okay, when you have guys coming from college, guys coming from NBA, you have players that are playing 12 years in EuroLeague. Well, if they don't trust you, you are nothing in the system. Like
Yeah.
if they don't feel that you work for them. And I have a colleague in Italy. His name is Giustino. He's a legendary strength coach. He always tell me, Reggie, we are slaves of a system and the players. Now, slaves is a little bit, it's a big word, but to be honest, this is what it is. This is what we are. I mean, we're working for the players. If we want work for the players, then what's our job on the system? If we want to have players performing, if we want to have players healthy, we need to work for them.
Hmm.
And I'm not saying you're not a yes man. Not everything that the player comes to you say, you nod your head and say yes. No, the players will trust you more if he knows that you're being honest with them. That if somebody gains weight, you come and you tell, hey man, you look terrible on the court. This is not the player I know. Let's get you better. Or if someone is, I don't know, limping, you come to him, you say, hey, let me know what's up. I can see you limping on the court, you're not saying anything. Let's talk. Let's see how to help you. Like, so the player needs to know that you're an address. You're an
Hmm.
address for the player
Hmm.
daily.
Yeah, it's like also knowledge is a big thing. Like knowledge is a driver of trust. If the players feel that you know what you're talking about, whether it's strength and conditioning, scouting, and X's and O's, whatever, then they gravitate towards you to ask, hey, what does this player like to do on a closeout, left, right, pump fake, like that. Those things, the players feel and they know what you know, that you're putting the work in and you care, and you care for them, you care for the team's success, and at the end of the day, that will build the bond, because at the end of the day, they also care about winning, they also care about their career, so it's a mutual respect thing.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, this is what I always try to keep in mind, that players are smart, okay? Players are always, you know how players are. They're always looking, they're always trying
Yeah,
to
they're
trying to
scouting
figure
you,
out,
they're
trying.
scouting you.
Yeah, they study you. Okay,
Yeah,
I study my players.
yeah.
They study me. They look at me. When we go to airport and there's only one spot of junk food in the airport, they're gonna look. Okay, they're gonna look what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna fall for that. So I always keep that in mind.
So in those last 13 years, or even longer, like have you seen a change of mindset with the players also in regards to how serious they take certain things and how much the approach may have changed?
Yeah, totally. Like,
Hmm.
players in EuroLeague level understands that if they're not gonna take care of their bodies, they're going to be lost. They're going to
Yeah.
be lost because you can see the rate of injury going up and going up. It's not only EuroLeague, okay? You can see it in NBA, you can see it in soccer, you can see it in football. It's all over. So players really, in the, let's say, past 4 seasons, really you can see that every player has, when he goes back home in the off season, everybody has a strength coach, a physio, a nutritionist, and also in the teams you can see systems grow, bring psychologists, nutritionists, a
Hmm.
few strength coaches, physio, good medical team. Like it's becoming a huge part of their life because they understand if without their bodies, basically they can be skilled and talented. Without their bodies, they got nothing to sell.
Yeah, the staffs are getting bigger. The approach of the teams and the franchises is getting more serious over the last 15 years. You can see that it's getting the staffs of the coaching staffs are bigger than it used to be because it used to be that you have like maybe two assistants that are overloaded with completely all the scouting reports and everything around it, and maybe you have a scout on the side. Now you have like 3 to 4 assistant coaches who are all like, because there's so many games in EuroLeague, so many games in domestic league, you have to split up. Two guys do this, two guys do this. It's never going to be probably like the NBA staff, like that, with all due respect. But in terms of budget and in terms of even just registration on the bench is probably not possible just to have that many coaching staff members. But most teams have invested into the development of the players. You can say that.
Yeah, I mean, you said NBA. I think in the NBA is kind of extreme.
Yeah.
Like you can come to a game and you see first, correct me if I'm wrong, first 2 or 3 rows is only assistant coaches, scouts, strength coaches, like so many people. But to be honest, I like it. Like when I will say it in a very simple way. When I come to Maccabi game and I see all my staff around me, I feel safe. I
Yeah.
feel smarter. Like I say, okay, if I don't know something, I have my 2 doctors or 3 doctors here. If I want to discuss something with a player, I have my psychologist here. If I'm not sure of something of body composition, I have my nutritionist. If I need help, I have my assistant. So think of, okay, me, I don't matter, okay? But think of
Hmm.
the player when he comes to Menorah Arena for a game and he sees all the staff around him, that you feel like raptured, like you feel
Hmm.
safe, you feel
Yeah.
good. Like you say, okay, I'm in a good system. I have whatever I need, I have here, and this is the way it should be when a player goes to the court. Okay. And I know my sister works in the NBA, you work in the NBA, when you go to the court as a player in the NBA, you go to shoot and you have 4 or 5 coaches around you. That's amazing. Someone comes and set the screen, somebody rebounds, somebody tells you what to do, somebody, I don't know, mimics a defender. Like, it's amazing feeling, and this is the way it should be. I mean, EuroLeague is going to this direction.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like I said, it's been getting bigger and bigger. So now I can't wait to see what's next in terms of also the EuroLeague, then the NBA Europe thing. Then there's so many things happening right now in Europe. It's a very um, interesting time, I would say, in
Yeah,
Europe. Different,
it is.
different than it was, 15, 20 years ago, where everything was just it's business as usual. Now you have like disruptors coming in, and it's a little bit of a different. Um, Organizationally it's going to be different. So in regards to communication with the coaches, you mentioned also talking to the head coach. What are the most common things you haggle about with the head coach in regards to preparation, in regards to travel, in regards to warm-ups? Because I remember the biggest thing that I remember with the strength conditioning coaches that I worked with and the head coaches, that how much time do you need to warm them up? Like the strength and conditioning coach is like 17, 18 minutes, and then head coach says, no, 13, you got 13, deal with that. And then you haggle with those, like maybe you settle for 15 minutes, things like that. What are the most common things you have discussions about with head coaches?
So first of all, you touch this first. So I would say basketball coaches always, for them, is never enough time. They don't have ever enough time for the practice. They always have stuff to teach. This is why I think a good strength coach should be really like smart. He really needs to explain why he needs that amount of time in practice. He really needs to build it ahead. Like you cannot come to the coach 20 minutes before practice and tell him, Coach, today I need 25 minutes. No, if you come like this, he's not going to give it to you. But if you sit down every weekend and you plan with yourself and you go and discuss it to your coach and tell him,
Hmm.
Coach, on Sunday I need 20 minutes. On Monday I need 15. And Tuesday I need 30. And then he's going to ask you why. But then you have time to discuss about it in the right way. Okay, if you just pull it out of your sleeve and say, this is what I need, nobody's going to give it to you.
Yeah.
Okay. And even sometimes if my coach will say, listen, Reggie, today I understand what you're trying to do. I understand the meaning of your part in practice, but I really don't have time. I really need to teach something important in practice. Cut your part to something shorter. No problem. I will find ways to bring my players before, to work, to come to the weight room before, to activate their bodies, to do whatever I need before. I will find solutions. To be honest, most of the time in Maccabi, I didn't have any problems because basketball coaches in EuroLeague level understands what is the meaning of the part of strength and conditioning coach in a practice. They understand that this part is meant to make the players better, to keep them healthy, and to make the practice time in a higher quality. Because if you have guys coming without proper warm-up to the practice, not ready mentally, not ready physically, not getting to the ranges of motion, not moving enough before the main part of basketball, then probably the main part of basketball will not be in good quality as you want. So I really believe that basketball coaches now in high level understands the meaning that if a strength coach comes to the coach and say, today I need a big part of the practice, they understand why. If they trust you, if they don't trust you, it doesn't matter what you do. If the basketball coach doesn't trust Reggie as a strength coach, then it doesn't matter what I'm going to explain to him. But if my basketball coach trusts me to do the best for my team, and he knows that there's a reason that on Monday I want 30 minutes and not 15, then maybe he's going to ask why, but he's going to, we're going to have some words about it, which is okay. He's the head coach. I mean, he decides. I can only recommend. But if he trusts me after we speak, then okay, like, go ahead, take it. They understand the meaning of it.
So, okay, warm up is over. Like you had the discussion, you did your warm up, you did the team warm up, the team practices. What do you look for during practice? What are the things that you, as the team practice starts and the scrimmaging starts, or maybe like the 3-on-2, 2-on-1, what are the things that from your side, what are you looking for, and what are you kind of aware of?
Yeah, so basically, let's say in a team perspective, you're looking for tempo, intensity, the structure of the practice. You determine how much time you want every part to be before the practice, and then you discuss basically more with the assistants during the practice to see if if we pass the time, if we're too short with the time. And individually, now, you ask what changed in the past years. So everybody's working with GPS now. We work with connection system. And then you can look individually at every player and you can try to control load. How much a player is accelerating, decelerating, jumping, what's the distance covered, how many times he changes direction. And this is the most, precise way to determine load.
Is that also something, the load that you show to the players to convince them, to show them like, hey, like I need more out of you, or is that strictly for the coaches?
That's the $1 million question, because not every player reacts the same. If you go and tell him, hey, listen, you did terrible with the numbers. Some guys will say, okay, this is what this system is doing. I'm not wearing that anymore. Okay, and you can happen. Like, you deal with human beings, so you really have to be smart with how you show the players what they did in practice. I mean, I really believe in a way of saying, hey, you did terrible numbers, but I know you are so much better than this. Did something didn't feel right at practice today? And then he's going to say, okay, he said it not in a wrong way, and he really believes in me, and he thinks I can do better. Next practice, I'm going to do better. Or you can come to a player and say, hey, listen, John, today you're amazing. You covered the most distance in practice, and that's a reward for him. Okay, he's proud to say, okay, I covered the most distance. Like, the coaches see I push myself, like I put the effort. It's there.
Yeah, it's like a carrot also. Like you give them a little bit. You have to give them positive things too. It's not only to hold them accountable, but also to praise them in using the same tool for two
Yeah,
different things.
I have to be honest. This is not soccer team. Okay, I believe in soccer, like the GPS system is so much more significant. In basketball, it's less because we play so much more than a soccer team. We play 3 or 4 times a week.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to put the system every time on a game. And the practice is a lot of time is active recovery or vitamins work, individual work, or whatever. But it's a good backup to how you want to share. If the coach asks you, how was the practice today? If the doctor comes and asks you, what did this player do this week? And then you have numbers, okay? You're not only guessing, like you can share with everyone, with the player, with the staff. Like, you have some data that you can share with everyone. Makes you smarter as a professional.
Yeah, you can back up your opinion. You have something to rely on, and you have like raw numbers to show and to
Definitely.
just to justify the path forward.
Yeah, that's big. That's big in our world today.
So also another thing with head coaches, because I always like the relationship between the head of performance and the head coach. It's a like a tug of war almost. Like you always have to kind of give and take and
Yes.
explain. And like you said, he makes the final decision. The head coach is responsible for the whole thing. But when an injury happens, there's a chain of commands. So how in your perception is the proper way to have the chain of commands after an injury occurs in practice or at the game?
So first of all, of course, that in major injuries, the doctor will be involved, and then the doctor calls the time frame of the injury, and then you start. Me as a strength coach, together with the head physio, we start to build some protocol, and then we go and communicate this to the coaches. Now, I'm very lucky, okay, because my coaches really trust me and the doctors and the physio team that we understand and we know what we are doing, and we will never push a player to play and return to the court before he is ready, unless it's a calculated risk,
Hmm.
which happens a lot. Like how it is, you have a cup final and you have a player that is out for a while, and you try to build the right protocol to put him back
Hmm.
to be ready for this game. Now, it's like you said at the beginning, it's all matter of communication. Like you have to be completely honest to the player, to the coach, to the medical team. You can go into the coaches and they will ask you, hey, why you said this, why it's such a long time, or maybe why it's such a short time. But you have to say, hey, listen, this is what the doctor say. This is what me and physio discuss together with the doctor. This is worst case. This is best case scenario. Let's think about it as a
Hmm.
system, because at the end of the day, you want the player to succeed, because if the player succeeds, the team succeeds. So you want guys coming back from injury. You want them from one side, and this is something that every system wants. When a player gets injured, you want them as fast as possible back on the court.
Yeah.
From the other side, you don't want them too fast to
Yeah.
get re-injured. Then you lose them again. This is the worst. Okay. Now everybody, it's like a trend. Everybody tears his calf or the hamstring. It's like it's a pledge. It's all over the world now. Okay. Now the thing, a lot of times players return early and then retear their muscle. It happened to us also.
Yeah.
I'm a part of it also, but you have to find the right timing of bringing the player healthy enough to play without re-injured.
Hmm. But there's also a trust factor in the player to properly push himself and not over push himself when he's coming back, right? Like I mean, I've been there. I've seen it happen. I've seen a player come back and then re-injure it, and then all hell breaks loose because whose fault is it? Why is he on the court? Why he shouldn't have?
Yeah.
Like because the coach is always pushing for him to get back earlier because he needs the player, especially if it's a rotational player. Then it's to everybody's benefit that he's back, but you don't want to lose him for 2 more months. So like there's like it's a thin line.
Let's be honest, there are two kinds of players. There are players that push themselves really quickly, and there
Hmm.
are players that are, let's say, over aware, or they have this fear of re-injury. Okay,
Hmm.
and this is where you come in. Okay, you see what are the risk factors. You see if the muscle is strong enough, if the knee is stable enough. Like you have to understand what is the risk here, and you have to communicate. If you have a player that is really afraid to come back, then and you think that he's ready to come back, then you go to him and you say, hey, listen, this is the assessment that we did. Okay, for us, you are healthy enough, you are good enough, you are stable enough, you are strong enough. We can build it gradually, but
Hmm.
you are ready. And for some guys that are trying to push themselves because I don't, they really want to come back, but their body is not ready yet,
Hmm.
then you go say, hey, you are too important for the team. We don't want to put you in risk because we cannot afford of losing you for another 2 months now.
So just to sum it up, like the doctor gets the diagnosis and he tells you and the head physio of what the diagnosis is, what the injury is, and you with the head of physio with the head physio, you decide on the timeline, like 4 to 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, more or less, and the program, you put the program together with the treatment and the training, and then you tell the coach of how the process will be and when he can expect them back.
Well, basically, the doctor, once he has the diagnosis, then he tells everyone. He tells the
Hmm.
coaches, he tells the player, which is a really big part of it.
Yeah.
He tells the GM, he tells the team manager, he tells the medical staff together with me. Then, after he told everyone, we sit down together, we build a protocol for this time frame. And
Hmm.
then we go to the coaches, we speak to the coaches, we meet about the player, about the injury. We let them know who's the assistant coaches or player development involved, what we want to achieve, how we want to do it, and then we start.
All right. Before we go into my sponsor, proballers.com, one more question about the head coaches, because that's something that I like. We've been talking about now the whole time between you, the relationship thing. Since 2013, how many head coaches have you gone through?
Oh,
Have you counted?
no, too many
No.
though. Like I had one season where we had five, so I kind of lost count
Y-
there. This was like 7 years ago, I think.
So, but for your profession, how difficult it is to adjust from each coach to another? Like, is there or is
Oh,
do you have your mechanics and you methodically you follow that and you tell the head coach, or like, because every head coach has a different way of doing things and a different load and a different density of
yeah,
practices.
that's such a good question because, okay, me as a strength coach, I have my system, I have my methods, I know exactly what I want to achieve. But at the end of the day, you deal with human beings, and
Yeah.
every basketball coach is a different person with a different background, with different habits. He worked with strength coaches that think totally different than you, and then you have to try to explain how you do it, what you want to achieve, why do you do it. Like, I mean, every time that a coach's change is really hard for me. First of all, emotionally, because I get, you work with someone for so many years, and in Maccabi, everything is so intense. And then one day, this guy leaves. First of all, it breaks your heart. Second, you say, okay, now I have to prove myself again. I have no problem with proving myself and with my knowledge, but it's again building the system together with basketball coach. And to be honest, the main basketball coach is a big part of the system. I mean, in many times he is the system,
Yeah.
but if you don't share the same thoughts, principles, lines of work, yeah, I'm not the sheriff. I cannot do stuff on my own. If I don't have good basketball coaches around me, I'm nothing. If I don't go have good assistants around me, good player development, good team manager, good GM, I can be the best in the world. I'm not going to achieve what I need.
Yeah, but that like from the coaches changing, because philosophy changes also. But when they come in, new coaches, new head coaches come in, they have the assistant coaches and the strength and conditioning coaches. Because sometimes you have, I don't know, you have an assistant also at Maccabi
Yeah,
that
I
helps
do.
you out. So there's also, you guys are information holders from about the roster, about the load, about the practice habits, about so which are the most common questions that the head coach asks the staff that has been there about what they need to know? Like, what are the little nuances that they need to know?
Uh, from my side, basically, is a health status of every player. Like,
Yeah.
what is the current physical status that every player has? Um, what was the methods of practice until now? Like, how was practice built? What was the intensity? What were the habits? What did we do a day after the game? What did we do in shoot arounds? How did the team warm up in game day look like? Like, it's just you feel like a salesperson because you sit in a room and then you have to explain all your methods in, I don't know, 1 hour because the new coach is so busy because he just came to a new club and he needs to meet the CEO, the owners, the players. He has to watch film, and then in 1 hour you have to explain everything that you know about the team.
But I'm sure there's a lot of discussions that are happening around that with heated discussions also. I mean, because there's a lot of preconceived notions also of certain information that they hold about players or about the team, and then they have to come in and you have to maybe convince them otherwise. And there's like
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of back and forth also in those situations.
Yeah, it's like a crazy tango dance. It's like you try to discover him, he tries to discover you.
Yeah.
You really trying to give him as much as you can without loading him too much, because I have so much data that I run and I have so many files, but you cannot send, I don't know, 500 documents on a coach that came a day before and he doesn't even know where he lives.
Okay, so moving on with the game day. So on game day, if players played during the game a certain amount of minutes, the starters and the rotation players, let's say 8, 9 players, maybe 10, played a certain amount, and then other players played, 5, 8 minutes sparingly. Somebody didn't play. After game day, the next day, how do you separate the load? How do you and what time? At what time of the practice do you load the players?
So the times really changes because there's a flying involved. So it really depends. But every player in our squad knows that if he played under, let's say, 12 minutes, then he knows that he's going to have extra work the day after. Okay,
Mhm.
some guys will come to the facility. If the loaded guys will come, they get the treatments, everybody watch films together. We're gonna do some team activity for everyone of active recovery, stretching, some movement, some preparation of the body for the practice. And then the guys that played less will have extra work with the player development coach or with one of the assistants. Now, we might say that we want to do some few guys together and doing some 5-on-0 and some extra work together, or we can say that we want to split and having every player having one coach just to have his individual work, and then probably meet to do some one-on-one, not to lose this day because the day before they didn't have a lot of contact because they didn't play at all or played only 5 minutes. So not to lose another day, and we want to keep them ready for the next game. They're going to do some live parts, playing some contact. Now the
Mhm.
guys that played, let's say, above 20 minutes, they're going to do only the recovery part, something really light, just shooting, film, stretching, treatments, ice bath, food, and they're out. The guys that played less stay to work. They know, like in our system, already a player knows you don't even need to text him. They know that if on Tuesday he played 5 minutes or played nothing at all, on the day after he's coming to work. Like he's gonna have intense day of work. If a player plays
Scrimmaging also, like taped scrimmaging.
tape, not always you have enough players. You're not gonna always have 4-on-4 or 5-on-5 that you can play up and
No,
down.
three on three probably, something
Yeah,
like that.
but he
Yeah.
he knows that this day he's coming to work, not to
Mhm.
lose another day.
Yeah, that's we call that in Boston we call it stay ready group. So like those guys, they have to stay ready, and we have guys that are sometimes we get them down from the G League also to mix and play some up and down, and then depends on the travel schedule, like you said also, and then we also have them play some scrimmaging, some 3-on-3, some the shooting for the main players is it also has to differ. It's probably more like less loading and more like spot up shooting and not so much running. It's more less intense shooting, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to exhaust the players that played a lot. You want to do something which is really light to moderate intensity. But it's funny, because I had everybody knows Scotty Wilbekin, right? So when Scotty used to come to active recovery practice, we used to say, okay, Scotty, every shot that he takes is a crazy jump shot. Now, if Scotty is doing only shooting and he's shooting, let's say, only 100 shots, he's still like crazy vertical jump just for this 100 shots.
Yeah, yeah.
So also when you're dealing with the personnel, you have to know who are your players, like how you want to deal with them. So for a player like Scotty, a lot of times we would say, okay, non-impact. Like Scotty, after everyone is shooting, he's gonna go to the bike. He's not gonna shoot.
Yeah. 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 You have to adjust. You have to stay flexible and read the room basically.
Yeah.
You have to know your personnel and the load that they automatically. Like you said earlier, some guys are pushing themselves to get back, and then sometimes you have to restrain them and set them down a little bit. And another thing in relationship with the players, I know that from my experience, they share some sensitive information with you. Like you talk to them and they trust you with certain aspects, whether it's basketball related or privately. How do you from your position separate like what's important to share to the coach and what do you need to keep for yourself in regards to performance?
That's a tough question. That's a tough question, and it's not only me. It's also the physio because players spend a lot of time
Hmm.
on on physio's bed, And sometimes I'm not a psychologist. I'm not good at it at all. But you have to really be careful with the things that you hear at the weight room or in the physio room or on the plane with how you go and communicate to coach or to team manager. Like for me, I was also a player and I know locker rooms. So I know what is just talking, and it's okay to keep as a just talking, and when is the right way or right timing to go and say, hey, this guy said something which is really, I don't know, out of line or really serious, like. And the players have to know that you have some, I will say, court awareness, that you know what is good to hear in the weight room, what is not good to hear. Like, and then they trust you. Like they understand that I know, they know that I know, okay? They know that I know how it feels to be around a bunch of guys, as basketball players, or from my experience being a strength coach of Maccabi for 13 years. And they understand I'm not gonna, not every some stupid word I'm gonna hear the way to, I'm gonna go tell the coach.
Yeah.
I only if I think it's gonna damage the team or
Yeah.
damage the player or damage someone from the system, then it's my time to go and say, hey, we don't do that in our club.
Yeah, sometimes, like there's a balance between not burning yourself, but at the same time, you don't want to get the team to get burned. So you have to distinguish between sometimes what the player says about themselves, or about the things itself, or he communicates something to you that's happening in the locker room that you should know about that maybe you're not aware of, and that it's like a small seed that's being planted, which can grow into any type of direction if you don't control it. So then it's on if you decide to tell the head coach, it's on the head coach to handle that information properly, sensitive information, without burning you. Like that. There's a trust factor between you and the coach as well, like of what you lay out there or how you lay it out there.
I really think that it's a matter of having some emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Okay. If I see my player doing something extremely wrong and it's only me and him, I'm gonna tell him, listen, I know. Okay. I know that you're not that kind of guy. This time let's keep it between us. But next time we cannot skip it. Like next time it happens, I go to my manager and I tell him, or I go to coach. Let's say every team has, I don't know, having a player that tends to drink from time to time, okay? And me as a strength coach, one of my friends saw him in the club drinking like a madman, okay? And then you go to him, you say, hey, listen, I know you're not taking care of your body, you're drinking, you're risking your body. We have a game the day after, you can tear your muscle. I mean, you're prone to getting injured, you're not focused. It happened one time. If it happens again, I mean, it's not my way, but I have no choice because I want to keep you safe. I want to
And the
keep you
team.
safe. I want the
And the
team to
team.
win. Yeah.
Yeah.
So already with this kind of small action, you kind of earn points with the player because they say, okay, Reggie knew, but he didn't throw me under the bus.
Yeah.
He came like a good guy and spoke to me and helped me understand in a way that I can understand.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
But
it's go ahead.
if it's a pattern and you see it's players not fixing it, then you need to solve it.
Yeah. So that's a big thing in regards to relationship with the players. What's the big no-no in regards to the head coach? Like what's from your job? Like what should young strength and conditioning coaches be aware of not stepping on the head coach's toes?
Never think that you are above your head coach. Never assume that you know everything. Never show that you work alone. Like for me, always, even if I'm really certain that something that I do, even if it's a decision I'm going to take, I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask the physio. I'm going to speak to the player. I'm going to speak to the doctor. I'm going to speak to one of the assistants. Even if I think I'm positively, like I'm so right, there's nothing that can change my mind. I want to be complete. I want to know that I ask everyone before I made the decision. um, and never like show attitude like around the coach. Like from one side, coach needs to know that you are very good at what you do and you have to be confident, but never be cocky around the coach. Like never try to show him that, hey, I'm the superstar of the team. I mean, I'm just a strength coach.
Yeah.
And I remember something, David Blutenthal, when I came to Maccabi in the first season, 2013, we had a team warm up, okay? And I don't know exactly what happened, but he told me in the middle of the team warm up of a big game, he came to me, and I don't know why he came to me because it was my first season. I was so quiet. I was like so, honored to be there. And he came to me, Reggie, don't ever think that someone is coming and paying to see you as a strength coach. Everybody's coming here to see the players. And he didn't say it in a bad way to me. I mean, he had something going on, not related to me. And then he told me, don't ever think that someone pays to see you. Everybody pays to see the players. And when you put that in the back of your mind, that you can be the biggest strength coach, I mean, everybody knows you, that's okay. But you are just there for the players. And when the players know that you are there for them, and when the coach knows that you share this feeling to the player, or you share this willing to help the players or the system, then the coach will treat you with respect. This is the
Wow.
way you show loyalty and respect to the system.
That's a great between the lines type of message there. Like it's a really good from David Blue. Like that's big time. Is there anything like that popped in my mind? Is there anything you learned from Sofo?
Sofo he's an interesting guy. First of all, he's a great guy. Like
Yeah.
Sofo is a special guy. He's so smart. He's so friendly. What I learned from Sofo basically is you can be that big and that impressive. Like for me, the athleticism of Sofo is something so unique because you see this big guy moving the way he moved on the court. And we used to have workouts at the weight room. He was amazing. Like the abilities he had in the weight room and on the court, so highly coordinated and so talented with his body. You don't see that every day. You can see it maybe in high level football. Like you can see these massive guys moving with amazing athleticism. And this is first time I saw it was with Sofo. Like it was a sight. Like Sofo had a lot of up and downs, but at the end of the day, he was an amazing athlete.
Yeah, that's I heard stories from Costas also. Like when he was on a different level.
No,
It was a
when
different human
when
being.
when he was on, like you could say, I will never work with another athlete like this probably in my
Yeah.
life. And
Yeah.
I worked with some amazing athletes. Just the way he moved, the way he reacted, like the fast twitch of the muscle and that kind of size, the way he ran up the court when he was in good times. It
Yeah.
was it was really interesting to see.
Let's talk one more thing about the best athletes on the staff, which are the assistant coaches. I'm kidding. Like the assistant coaches on the staff, because they sit a lot, and selfishly, I would like to know as well, what are the biggest recommendations you give to the coaching staff in regards to movement and protecting their spine, protecting their back? Because after a while, I'm sure that they at some point it catches up, and they have to also work out, and they have to realize that they have to work out. And all the assistant coaches that are listening, or head coaches that are listening that are not working out, you need to work out. And I would like to ask you if there's anything that you can recommend to assistant coaches or coaches in general.
Funny thing that you asked because Guy Panini just texted me when is his next lift before the practice. So it connected. No, but to be honest, it's not only the system. I look also on my body. Like if you don't lift, if you don't take care of your body, you're gonna collapse because the load is not only great on players, it's also great on coach, on assistant coaches, on team manager. If you don't take care of your body, you're gonna collapse. I mean, you're gonna get sick. All this sitting around in planes, your joints, like your muscle tissues, everything, you feel like these flights make you feel like you are 90 years old
Yep.
because the load is the stress, the mental stress, the physical stress is so big on the staff members as well. And if you want to have good quality of life, you want to deal with this profession for many years, you want to be active on the court, you want to work with players, like you have to do it. Like if you don't take care of your body, if you don't, for us, if we don't take care of the nutrition, we are dead because we fly so much, airports, hotels, so much food around you, so much bad options that you can choose to gain weight. Like, and if you get old around players, it's not good. You have to be active. You have to be alive. You have to, when players see you on the court, the way you show a player something on the court, it's everything.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think like the biggest things working out, then nutrition, hydration, sleep, but it's something sometimes you can't choose because you have to work sometimes late or you have to work on a plane and sometimes you just nap in between. And then I don't know, like then maybe the social life comes into play as well because that gives you also some happiness and satisfaction if you have a good staff to have staff dinners, to have people come together because the flying, like you said, the flying, the sitting on the bench, the sitting at the desk, sitting on the bus, sitting on the plane, it's you can work out for an hour and a half. You're still sitting like 8 hours a day, 7 hours a day, you want or not. So, like, if you are on the court and you're working out, and you have to stay, the people, guys neglect it until it's too late. That's why I want to be an advocate for that because I've done it and I've neglected it, even though like also some injuries that I didn't treat properly afterwards, and then it just kind of adds up with the you take some anti-inflammatories, you work out, but you don't really get treatment, properly, and then it just kind of it's a compound effect usually.
I really feel it's also a matter of sharpness. Like you can see coaches that train, you can see a difference the way they coach, like
And
the
the
way
mind,
they coach on the court.
yeah,
Yeah, they come much more sharp. They come much more intense. Like they hold themselves differently physically on the court with confidence, with charisma. Like for me, it all connects.
hmm No, that's it. And it's there's a big correlation between physical strength, muscle mass, especially leg strength and brain, like just because of the connective tissue and the how much muscle mass you can activate, it activates the brain at the same time. And people who don't activate their muscles, their brain's going to deteriorate quickly.
Yeah,
You ready for my ATOs?
let's do it.
All right. So I know the EuroLeague Strength and Conditioning Association, they started a podcast, so that's for everybody to know. But besides that, what are the best resources for strength and conditioning coaches to go to? Whether it's a YouTube channel, whether it's a book, whether it's somebody you follow on Instagram, on Twitter or X or whatever. Is there anybody, anything that you recommend?
So for me, I mean, one of the best sources is Mike Boyle. He has many books. He has many YouTube channels. Like you can find him everywhere. I mean, he's not young anymore, but he's one of the, I would say, founding fathers of strength and conditioning in sports. I really like this guy, Mike Boyle. And to be honest, for the younger generation, there is Lucas Villar, the strength coach. He's working now with Shane Larkin. He used to work in EuroLeague and G League team. He's a great colleague. He's a great friend. He has really good books. Like I really like the way he thinks. Also, you mentioned our organization, the EuroLeague Strength and Conditioning Coaches Association. Every summer we have our clinic. In the off season, 3 days of just keeping everyone together, discussing, talking, teaching, learning, asking questions. Like this is, for me, these are the best 3 days of. I'm not gonna say it's the season, it's off season, but it's really, really important, not only for Yoli coaches, but also for coaches that come from outside to learn, to get better, to develop, to see other people and other way of thoughts. And it's a really, really important thing in my
Yeah,
mind.
learning about other people's perspectives and experiences, I think it's a very undervalued tool. You have to exchange knowledge and at the same time maybe give you a little bit of a mindset shift in certain things that you thought were true, but maybe are not true always. So like that's
It's
important.
big. This was one of the biggest goals of this organization is to develop our systems, to develop ourselves as strength coaches, is to get all EuroLeague strength coaches together in one room and talk about things and ask questions. And sometimes even to discover that we do similar things, it makes you feel more confident in the things that you do, but also to learn completely new things and how other teams do it. And it's big in our development.
Hmm. Best advice you have received from a mentor?
Phew. Wow, so many. I have so many. Um, I would say it's not from a strength coach. It's from a basketball coach. Is Everybody knows, Coach Dan Shamir. He was he was a basketball coach in the first men's team I worked in Herzliya. And he told me one time, never, never stop developing, never think that you know. He told me, Dan, he's always very strict and very honest. He told me, you're just a strength coach. Don't ever stop learning. Um, don't ever stop reading, trying to get better. He told me, you're gonna get where you need to be, but don't ever think that you stop learning or you know enough.
Yeah, he was on 2 episodes ago, I think. So anybody who wants to listen to Dan, I think you can go back a couple
Dan is
episodes.
always interesting.
Yeah, Dan is good. Dan is fun. Fun
Yeah.
also and very, very smart.
Yeah.
Um, best your advice from your current self to your younger self, to yourself, what would you say?
Wow. I did so many mistakes, man. I don't know. And I did so many mistakes at the beginning of the road, but um, learn to enjoy also the bad days that you do this position and you do this job, even on days that you have many injuries, on days that the team loses badly. I mean, always feel privileged that you have this job of people, of 15 guys when each of them is worth 1 million or more that trust you and you have good professionals around you, like appreciate this opportunity and this time that you have with these guys, because a lot of times when you lose or when you have players injured, you're always busy with getting down on yourself and you're saying, I'm not good enough, or I didn't do this well. But like, embrace these times, because at the end of the day, this gonna get you better
Hmm.
in few years. Like, you don't get better from good experience. You get better from bad experiences, to be honest. This is what I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree. They're hard to swallow. They're very hard to swallow, but you have to swallow and move on
Yeah,
quickly and move on to the next play. Same thing you
yeah,
tell the players to move on. You have to move on also.
yeah.
Most underrated part of your job.
Is what I do outside of practice time. This is like, people don't understand that being a strength coach in a EuroLeague level, like the practice or the game, is just a really, really small part of the job. And that's the easiest for us. Like, you can wake me up in the middle of the night. I'm going to tell you what this player needs to do in the warm up and what this player does. I can say it in the middle of the night, but the way you deal with the people, like the things that you do, the schedule, the talking to the hotels, talking to the offices, communicating to the coaches, communicating to the doctor, to the physios. I mean, dealing with the pressure. And there's a lot of pressure on strength coaches in EuroLeague level, because I really believe in it. It's a good thing. We handle so many things, and the pressure on us is big, because every time someone gets injured or the team plays bad, it always at some point can come to us. Why is the team out of shape? Why is this player getting injured? Why is this player gaining weight? Why is this player not jumping high enough? Why this player is too skinny? Like, there's always something. Like, there's always something going on, and there's a lot of pressure and a lot of responsibility.
Yeah. Yeah. Best personal investment you have made in the last year for yourself. Here now we come 2025 to an end, and in the year 2025, what was the best personal investment you made for yourself?
I would say the connections I'm trying to develop with my colleagues around EuroLeague or even in the NBA. Like, for me, it's part of the development, part of me getting better. It's just to understand that there's always good things which are different than you, like trying to accept different ways or different theories or different perspectives, and speaking to the coaches and like really coming open-minded. I wasn't like that a few years ago. Like,
Hmm.
now I'm much more confident and much more open-minded to hear other coaches and to say, okay, I'm not doing that, but I'm willing to hear why why he does that. Like, maybe he's gonna convince me.
But I'm butchering the Denny Kruger effect, but there's also this correlation between knowledge and confidence. And sometimes confidence comes before knowledge, and then the more you learn, the confidence sinks because you understand that you don't learn and that you don't know.
Yeah,
So then you have to balance out the confidence of not knowing and knowing, and that's like the equilibrium between the knowledge that you still have to gain and what you know already, that it doesn't make you any more dumb. Like you already know, but you know that you also don't know a lot of things.
so that's a good thing that you say because every time that we sit in the summer, like all of EuroLeague strength coaches together, Kostas and Luca and Jure and Justino and all these other amazing guys, I always say to myself, wow, I feel so stupid. You know, After 13 seasons in Maccabi, I feel so stupid. But I think that this is something good because it means that I want to get better. I look at these guys and I say, wow, I have things to learn, and that's okay. I mean, I'm not 70 years old, I'm 44 years old. I have so much to develop, and I have so much more to give to my system because I want to develop.
Yeah, and that's important to have that internally, to know that you already have a lot of knowledge, but you still there's a fine line of also not having imposter syndrome, like that you feel like you don't belong. You belong because you know a lot, but you still have so many other things to learn. You
Yes,
just have already great foundation, like so to grow even more grass.
I
So
agree.
you mentioned one thing about making mistakes, and that's the last question I always ask for about a favorite failure that you have made in your career that you learned so much from. And like, what's the favorite mistake that you've done that you kind of cherish and you remember, and that was like the biggest lesson that you've learned?
Okay, I'm guessing every strength coach has this in his career, but it's probably bringing a guy too early from a major injury and then probably did some major damage again, hurting the player, finishing the season, hurting the team because one of the main guys is out completely, and then it's on you. Like
Mhm.
you say, okay, what did I miss in rehab? Why didn't I go to coach and said this guy is not ready? Even that sometimes everybody understands the risk, but at the end of the day, it's you. If you didn't go to the coach and told him this guy is not ready to play and he got injured, then it's on you.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
maybe I missed some steps during his process, and maybe I didn't listen to the player enough. Maybe the player came and told me I felt some soreness before that I told you, and then it's you take it to a it's deep. I mean, strength coach world can be deep.
yeah, yeah. Having open ears to listen to what's happening and seeing, and use your eyes and ears, but also having the confidence to speak up if there's something that you
Yeah,
feel.
so my biggest mistakes probably were bringing guys too early, but I think that every strength coach has few of these in his sleeve.
Yeah, for sure. Reggie, thank you very much. Thanks a lot for that. I hope thanks for letting me drill you with a whole bunch of questions that I was thinking about. How can people find you?
I'm a very basic guy. LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. I'm there like everyone else. I'm very open. Like if anybody wants to ask questions or share, I'm always there. And thank you so much for having me. It was a true pleasure speaking to a guy at your caliber. Told you I'm a big fan of the podcast, so thank you for that.
Thanks a lot. It was my pleasure too. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. Thanks a lot for everybody for being here, and see you and hear you soon. Bye.